Good morning, gamers! Cooper here again, and I'm going to be making another commentary for Man vs. Machine, this time detailing the medic. I hope you find this informative and that it helps improve your gameplay. Now, the advice I'll be giving you is based on my own opinion, and I've collected that from discussions I've had with other players and my own personal playing experience. The first thing we're going to talk about today are the loadouts. For the primary weapon, my top 3 recommendations are the Crusader crossbow, the overdose, and the syringe gun. For your secondary weapon, I recommend the Medigun or the Kritzkrieg. Following that, I would also recommend the Quick Fix. My 3 recommendations for the medic's melee weapon being the Amputator, the Uber Saw, or the default Bone Saw. Now for my playing style, I wear the Medieval Medic set, which gives me a +1 healing rate. The set requires only the Amputator and the Crusader crossbow, and I think it's the best thing you could actually do for your team for Man vs. Machine because it helps you stay alive longer. The set also gives you the freedom to choose which medical gun you want to use, whether it's the Quick Fix, the Medigun, or the Kritzkrieg. I do see a lot of other medics play with the Uber Saw, mainly because the easy way to get a melee kill on a scout is a great way to recharge your Uber, so I feel like that is an appropriate substitute if you don't have the set. If you are playing as a medic, I would also recommend you have a canteen in your action slot. So now we're going to look at character upgrades. When it comes to playing as the medic, the upgrades for the actual medic can be very helpful, noting things like the blast resistance upgrades and for health regeneration. I think it is beneficial to pay for some personal upgrades because the guy you're healing can't shield you from all the damage. In regards to my primary weapon, I always go with the Crusader crossbow, and I don't pay for any of the upgrades for the Crusader crossbow since I really don't use it at all. For my secondary weapon, I tried both the Kritzkrieg and the Medigun. Both guns are optimal for MVM, but I can't make a sole recommendation. Here's where you need to find and play test what works best for you and your team. I found all of the upgrades for the secondary weapon to be desirable. I like to focus on having a faster heal rate, uber charge rate, and overheal, but the canteen upgrade, increased uber duration, and overheal are great choices as well. These are upgrades that you again need to play test and find what suits your favorite medic build. Now I chose the Amputator as my melee weapon of choice because I think the Medieval Medic perk is amazing. However, I do not pay for any upgrades on the Amputator. I believe if you use the Uber Saw, you can upgrade the attack speed, and I feel like that might be a worthwhile upgrade. So now we're going to get into the strategy of being a medic, and the first thing we're going to talk about are abilities. The key abilities of the medic are the ability to upgrade every aspect of their healing and gameplay really. Medics can upgrade their healing rate, they can upgrade the overheal, the ubercharge rate, the length of the ubercharge, so it's really a comprehensive development on their ability. The medic can also pay to share their power-up canteens, which can really enhance their role as a support character. Now, if you played as a medic in classic PvP TF2, you'll be happy to know the skills you use there are the same skills you use in MVM. Unlike the scout and pyro who have to develop new skills like blowing back the bomb and collecting the money, the medic's sole responsibility is to keep the team alive and fighting. Now that doesn't mean the medic has an easy job. Medics can often mean life or death for teams, and a medic's loadout will have a substantial effect on the team strategy. Medics using a Medigun will be optimized for keeping players alive by healing them and using the Uber charges to give players invulnerability. This can be very useful for going toe-to-toe with giants. While medics using the Kritzkrieg are optimized for boosting player damage by healing players and using Uber charges to give players crits. The crits can be used to quickly kill giants and other robots. As a medic, you have 3 responsibilities. Your third and least important responsibility is to call out targets. As I said in my scout commentary, you should be using a microphone in this game mode. You'll need to call out targets, notify players when you're charged, and warn other players about incoming spies or other support classes. Having good communication and team synergy can drastically improve your team performance, and when you're playing as a medic, you are a support character, so you need to be fulfilling all of those support roles. Your second most important responsibility will be healing and the supporting of allies. This sort of goes without saying, you need to heal your teammates, and you need to charge them whenever you're able to. By an extension of this, if you are playing as a medic, please do not be the blind medic. You have 6 players on your team, that means there are 5 other players that need healing. If you focus solely on the heavy, then it's very likely your allied demomen and engineers are gonna die. Everyone on the team needs your full attention. Now your number 1 priority as a medic is to stay alive. Now this does not mean you run out of the fray when you get damaged, but it means that you need to be constantly aware of what is going on around you. The reason why staying alive is the number one priority is if you are not alive, you cannot do your other responsibilities. I would argue that having a good medic on your team can prevent at least 50% of player deaths, meaning the longer the medic stays alive, the longer everyone else keeps fighting. When it comes to strategies, there's only a couple basic suggestions I can really make. The first one being always be on the move. It basically lets you keep up with your allies, keep them healed, and it also helps you avoid support classes. I'd recommend you, of course, use players as shields so that you can heal them and stay alive yourself. An important tip is to don't be afraid to retreat. If the guy you're healing dies, do not stay down there because there's no one to heal. Fall back, meet up with someone else, rinse and repeat. Also, don't be afraid to be selfish. If you see a bunch of grenades are flying your way, you pop that Uber and save yourself, and once again, don't be afraid to retreat. Try also not to be greedy. Don't hold on to that Uber for too long because I always find when I hold on to it for that perfect moment, just before that moment comes, I end up dying. A medic can also do a lot between rounds, like overhealing the entire team before the countdown finishes, or even helping demo men set up critted sticky traps. And the last thing I could really recommend is canteen sharing, because the ability to confer crits to all your allies around you really helps basically down anything that comes your way. Some final notes on playing the medic. I personally don't think there should ever be more than one medic on a single team. I personally find it extremely difficult to play as a medic in MVM and even in PvP TF2, so I believe it's a class best reserved for game veterans. I believe the medic is a secondary class, which means it isn't essential to winning, but they are very, very helpful, especially when it comes to smaller teams. I hope this tutorial helped give you some insight. Happy hunting, and I'll see you guys at Manworks.